Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, when you end up doing 1,673 of a thing, you just might know what you're doing. Uh, and if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals. We pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you do, because let's face it, you're listening right now. And if you are, please keep listening and subscribe. Hit the old subscribe button that gives you a 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere, places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, and plus we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe as well, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Letterboxd, the TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, and a few other places. I'm losing track because there's too many. But we're in the seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest in the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it all that much more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please do us that ultimate kindness. Come on by and pay us a visit. We've got lots and lots more Emmy consideration stuff for you coming up here on this episode as we dive into, a pop culture staple, a landscape, a piece of satire that has gone on for, well, it's a while. I mean, I don't want to say maybe it is generational. It is. It's been on for a long, long time. It's The Daily Show. It's that thing that most of us gather to at the end of the night and come together and go, oh my God, somebody said that. And we understand what's happening in the world, and they try to make a little more sense of it while making us laugh at the same time. It's a great show, and it's obviously, the past few years, if you're a fan, it's gone through quite a bit of upheaval with John quitting, and then Trevor, and then COVID, and then guest hosts, and now they've got a rotating series of hosts with John back. It's been wild, and we had the unique pleasure of sitting down with the Emmy-nominated head writer of the show, the one and only Mr. Dan Amira, who has been there for 1,673 episodes and counting of The Daily Show, and that's an amazing feat in and of itself. And we talked to Dan about getting nominated and just sort of the grind of The Daily Show, and just how they have to write for different people, and just the nuances therein, how things can pivot from time to time, and also just in the news, how they have sometimes at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, they got to throw a show out the door because something happened in the news, and it's a fast paced, but it's a vital piece of pop culture, and you probably are a fan of The Daily Show, so obviously support it, watch it, because late night TV, as we all well know right now, is a bit of a space that is having some trouble. But first, enjoy our talk with Dan Amira, because Between You and Me is a pretty darn good one. Congratulations on everything, but I mean, I gotta ask, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, this is IMDb I'm quoting, but when you have 1,673 episodes to your name on something, like, does this get old hat, or is it still sort of exciting?
Uh, it's never going to get old. I mean, let's thank President Trump for keeping the news fresh all the time.
There you go, yeah.
He's throwing things at us that we never thought we'd have to cover before. So no day is the same on the show. Like, truly, even within a day, I don't know. Like, we might switch the headline halfway through the day, so it can't get old. We have to be on our toes too much, and yeah, 1,600. I didn't realize it was that much. That's that's a lot when you put it that way.
Now, I mean, I guess I gotta ask, because it's something I've always been curious about. Because I mean, I've been a fan for the longest time, but I mean, admittedly, when Trevor came on, I dialed out a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. I mean, pandemic had to do with it, and like there was a whole bunch of stuff going on, obviously. But when John came back, and now sort of there's this rotating cast of characters, how does that change your job? Because I mean, I've got a feeling instead of writing for one voice, you're writing for multiple voices now.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It's definitely a challenge in a way from a writing standpoint, because each one of them has a different style, comedic perspective, and different types opinions on things. But that's also what makes it really fun from a writing standpoint. I think one of the most fun I've had on the show is we had a year where we were just having guest hosts. This was after Trevor left. We
Right.
had a guest host rotation. We bring in people from outside the show and our own correspondents a week at a time. And you'd have like Sarah Silverman come in for a week and Al Frank come for a week and, Marlon Wayans. And like you get to write for all these different voices. And that was just so fun. Now, obviously, we've pared it down a little bit. We have John on Mondays and we have our correspondents rotating in the rest of the week, which is also like really great. Like it doesn't get stale. It doesn't get, old. You always have different styles and viewpoints to write for, which I'm pretty sure this is unprecedented in the history of like a late night show, to have this as sort of like a permanent format. But I think it's really great. And I think viewers also like the sort of freshness of it.
Well, absolutely, because I mean, it's one of those things. But when John went back, I mean, I think audiences could have expected him to be like, okay, let's go back to the way things were. But no, it feels like he's been very adaptive and very sort of rolling with the punches. How has the show kind of evolved over these transitional years with all these different hosts now?
I mean, it feels like we haven't had a normal year. Like we had, we had our COVID pandemic year where we were shooting from Trevor's apartment. We had like a period after that we were shooting from a studio but with no audience. That was really weird. Definitely didn't think that was a high point. Then we came back to the audience, had Trevor for a little while. Then Trevor left. We had the rotating hosts, and then I mean, the best thing of all, John coming back was just like the perfect timing, the perfect everything. And I think that him doing one show a week makes it like more of an appointment television to see what John has to say that week. And it also works well for John because 4 shows a week is a hell of a lot of work.
Oh, for
And
sure.
you can burn out, and most people do eventually. And we could like this, we can keep John nice and fresh this way.
I'm curious, because obviously John is infamous for his interviews, and I mean, especially sometimes those go a little heavy. Like, do you know going into something like, okay, John's talking to so and so, that's going to go heavy, so we got to write in light, or is this all stuff you have to figure out on the fly?
The interviews you never really know. Like sometimes it's not an interview you expect to be that in depth or that long, and John just gets into it with the guy and finds the topic fascinating. It'll run pattern like that. There's honestly no telling, but we don't let that portion of the show really affect the rest of the show, from like a timing standpoint or a writing standpoint. They're sort of separate areas, and luckily with John's shows we have a little bit more of like a flexible time on linear, and then we also always put the whole interview up on online, so we don't let it like shrink the rest of the show.
Right, okay, fair enough. I'm curious because I mean, you mentioned
Yeah.
burnout. How have you not burnt out? Because obviously, you've been around for quite some time, and I mean, you've really grown with the show.
I don't know. I mean,
That's
maybe
a
I'm going to
fair
snap at
answer.
some point. Yeah, it's not to say that it's not coming. It can be hard sometimes, like keeping up with the news to the degree that I have to do it, even when we have off weeks. Like I have to keep paying attention to the news. Like I can't come back to the show on Monday after a week off the air and not know what happened. So I'm always looking at the news. I'm always seeing what's going on, and that can be a lot. Most people can tune out from the news, but I can't. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it takes a certain type of person, and luckily, all the people that work there are kind of like me, and they can just deal with all that so far.
No, I mean, I'm curious because I mean, obviously your workday will start, I don't know when, but at a given time. And I mean, I can imagine, you're working, then 4 or 4:30 or whenever he has a press conference, it'll be a question of, oh my God, Trump said what? Okay, throw everything out, start fresh. Like, can you bank
Totally.
stuff? Or do you just have to sort of wait in fear for sort of that moment of like, oh shit, he's having a press conference?
You definitely can't pre-write those press conferences.
Right, yeah,
Like
yeah.
even if it's a press conference about I'm meeting with the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Like they'll take one question about Malaysia and then they'll just talk about Jeffrey Epstein for 40 minutes. And you're like, there's no way you could have planned that ahead. So, we've run into that a lot since Trump has come back into office, and it's just a sort of a gut call. Like, do we throw out part of the show and rewrite it for this thing that just happened, or can this thing save till tomorrow, or do we just touch on it to show people that we saw it and then do more tomorrow? It's really like we take it like each instance in isolation, and yeah, like I said, like make sort of a gut decision on it. But it happens a lot.
I
He
can
seems to always
imagine.
plan these things for 4:30 or something.
Well, of course, yeah, my God.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can imagine as writers, there can be a tendency to be precious, especially if something works. I mean, how do you develop sort of that muscle to sort of, I guess, hold on tightly and let go lightly? Because I can imagine in the meat grinder that is the modern day news cycle, and obviously the same cycle for you guys, you can't necessarily get attached to any one piece of material.
No, and like even entire headlines sometimes. I mean, like you mentioned before, 1,600 shows that
Yeah.
I've done. You always know there's another show. So it's not going to be your last chance to get a joke on TV. It might not even be the last chance to do this joke on this topic. Like it might come back. So yeah, I can't tell you the number of like jokes that I've loved that we just go, gotta gotta cut it. Doesn't fit in the show anymore, and you gotta make the best show you can without being precious about specific jokes.
Now, I've got to admit, like, I've got to ask,
That
walk me through the early years. How did you apply for the job and get on the show?
I had been working at New York Magazine. I was essentially a blogger about news and politics for New York Magazine, and I basically applied to be a writer at the Daily Show. Although that's a little simplified. I found out how to submit my application through my roommate's mom's friend's son who worked at the Daily Show. So it was one of those like ridiculous like network things um, that you think will never work out, and it did. And I applied for a writing position, and there wasn't anything open at the time. There just so happened that John Oliver left to do his own show shortly after, and um, that opened up some spots. So yeah, I was very fortunate in the timing and the connections and everything. I'm really amazed sometimes that it worked out this way.
No, I mean, I'm curious because I mean, this is something John has always said publicly that, the Daily Show is not the news. But at the same time, the Daily Show always feels like it has maintained the most journalistic quality of a lot of the other shows out there. How do you balance sort of uh I guess sort of the journalist side versus the side that wants to be funny?
I mean, we're always comedy first. I think like we're a comedy show. If you want to find out about the news, like there are probably other places you could do that a little better. I mean, we definitely cover the news, but it's not going to be all the news. It's going to be the news that we found the most conducive to comedy and satire that day. You know what I mean? Um, and I know that people get the news from it. A lot of people get it. I think that's great. But we're definitely comedy first, um, you know, informative second. And I just want to mention that in terms of like journalistic quality, like we do hold ourselves to a high standard. We want all our facts to be right. We want everything to be above board. And that's not just so, we don't get sued by Donald Trump or whatever.
There's
It's
that,
because we
yeah.
have to, there's that. But we also want to have your trust so that when we say something, it's true. And we have this our fact checker is incredible. He's been with the show since I think maybe even before they hired Craig Kilborn.
Oh wow.
He might have been like employee number two or something. And he's been there for like 30 years, and his name's Adam Chodikoff, and he is the most rigorous. If we said something like global warming causes stronger hurricanes, like something that you just sort of can assume you can say, he'd be like, actually, the studies say that so far the data supports stronger hurricanes in the North Atlantic, but not necessarily everywhere. We'll be like, geez, man, like, he's hardcore with the facts, and he keeps us honest for sure.
Well, and I think that's what I mean though, because it's one of those things where I've never gotten the sense that the Daily Show massages the story for the sake of the joke.
No, I mean we would never do that. I think if you don't have like honesty in your joke, then it's kind of like cheating. It's not a real joke, and it's not real satire if it's not based off of the truth.
For sure. 100%. Now, I mean, obviously, another nomination. Is it like a group vacation to go down to sort of go to the awards? I mean, I've got a feeling that it's like, I mean, do you opt out? Do you go? Do you not go? Like, it almost feels like it's a team building vacation in many ways. It would be for you guys.
I mean, it's definitely fun to go to the Emmys. Like, it's surreal every time. I never, whoever thinks they're going to go to the Emmys, much less like be up on stage. It's incredibly surreal, and yeah, it's great for the staff to go out there and have that moment together. I I never get tired of it, and whether we win or not, it's a very cool experience to just be walking around amongst actual TV stars, and you're like a writer. Like, how am I in the same room as these people?
Well, and especially, I mean, even with this year, it feels like from especially from the late night crews, there's such a unity when it comes to everything that happened with Colbert. And I mean, as much as I'm sure internally you guys would want to win, you're all cheering for one another at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, late night it's getting to be a smaller and smaller boat that we're in. And yeah, we love Colbert. It's a brilliant show, and we're so glad that it's still got like another year to show us like what Unleashed Colbert is going to be like. And I'm definitely going to be watching. And in terms of the awards, like whoever people want to vote for, they should vote for. But yeah, there's also bigger things.
For you personally, has there ever been an itch or an urge to go work on a different kind of show, or did it sort of the second you get installed at the Daily Show, did you know like that was it?
It's truly my dream job to work at the Daily Show, and how many people can say they work at their dream job? I mean,
Yeah.
very few, right? So I haven't even really thought about it. I'll probably be here until I die, or you know, cable TV ceases to exist, whichever comes first.
Well, if they let you write for Paramount Plus, though, I'm sure they'll let you do that too. But I mean, honestly, Dan, man,
I would do it. Yeah.
just thank you for the time. I mean, honestly, on the inside, I really appreciate this because I mean, I really think just especially what was going on with Colbert, and I mean, the work that you guys do, it's shining a necessary light on the absurdity of the world that we live in and sort of the cycle of crazy shit that happens on an hourly basis. But I mean, guys, thank you for the work and just again, thank you for the time today. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate you saying that, and glad you like watching, and thanks for having me on. It was nice to talk about it.
You're very welcome, Dan, and good luck at the Emmys.
Thank you.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.